We've seen Karen actually very shortly, was out there with you today. But Ronnie, you're creating some headlines, man, once again. Look, and what's all this about? The breakaway? Come on.
I don't know.
Can you give us some details? What's in your mind here, man?
No, I just listen. I mean, I don't really want to go into it because obviously it's sort of. But you know, I just. It's not even about money. It's just about playing. Logistics is one, and a lot of pre-qualifying. And I'm sure if Steve was still playing, I don't think he would really want to be going to Barnsley and Preston. It's like you're asking Roger Federer basically before Wimbledon to go over to Richmond Park and try and qualify in front of like a few people, and there's a lot more things, and there's some simple things that can be done to just eradicate that and make it a lot more, not fair on the top players, but any player that was a top player would have some sort of benefit, so as they're not dashing from one tournament to another, because you really want to play in every event, that you play in, but, you're picking tournaments and thinking, well, if I do well in that and that, and I've entered that, I don't really want to go to that. So it's kind of like, but when you enter, you want to commit to go and have a schedule.
Playing devil's advocate, obviously, because of the structure of World Snooker, to play on the tour and get your ranking, you need ranking points, you need ranking prize money. So effectively the players are effectively needing to play in all of the ranking events. That doesn't suit you. If you start
I think it suits anybody. It suits the people that lose early because they get home for 9-10 days and they look forward to the next one. But if you look at someone like Selby or Higgins or Williams, then obviously they're going deep in the tournament. So it doesn't really suit them. At some point they're going to crash and burn, and it's not just one trip to China for 4 tournaments. It's like 5 or 6 different trips, and that can be like 1 week you're in China, 1 week you're in Coventry, and the next week you're back in China. Eventually that does catch up on you, and you end up with someone like Higgins that's burnt out.
But how would a breakaway tour?
No, I don't want a breakaway tour. I just love to play, and
do you not think you have more of an option now to pick and choose your tournaments than you've ever had?
Well, what you should really do is maybe go and speak to the PGA and speak to them how they do it, because I think they do it on the amount. If you enter a certain amount of tournaments, they take your average. So not every tournament counts. So it would take the pressure off of people to think that I have to play in everything. They could maybe play 10 events.
So the breakaway tour stuff that's been in all of the papers is not what you're wanting.
Well, if the tour is as it is, I know eventually I'm going to struggle to make the quality tournaments because I'm not prepared to go from tournament to tournament to try and chase a few ranking points to get in the invitation events. So if that happens, then it doesn't leave me with much to play in. So I would rather play in something, 8, 9 events, quality events. I just want a platform to play. I love to play, But I want to feel like that if I'm on a tour, that I can compete and try to get to #1 without having to chase around every event, because you get burnout. I got it last year, and you can't, you want to be a happy snooker player.
But if it was a breakaway event, you wouldn't be able to play in the World Championship.
I don't care. I love to play.
So
I like
it's
exhibition.
more of a showcase event.
I just like to play. I like to get up. I like to practice. I like to prepare for tournaments. I like, the beautiful thing about playing professional sport is in the preparation. You're working with your coach. You're getting ready for the event.
But they would just be exhibitions.
Well, no, I wouldn't play against, bad players. It would have to be good quality opposition, because you can't fraud the public,
Do you still not want to, to match Stephen Hendry's World Championship, seven World Championships, or be the greatest player of all time? Does that not drive you?
I think happiness is more important. Being a happy snooker player is more important.
Just playing exhibitions?
No, like someone like John Higgins decided that he was going to retire, but he fancied playing 8, 9, 10 invitation events. Then me, John, maybe Stephen Hendry, maybe if Ken thought, I'm not really doing much on the main circuit, but there's good prize money, great venues, a little bit like what the seniors is doing, it might appeal to some people, but I wouldn't be taking players that can't play or don't have the class. It's about,
So have you canvassed opinion, Ronnie, about this?
Pardon?
Have you canvassed opinion amongst? Have you actually spoken to some of the other players to
Well,
see whether they'd be up?
I've spoken to a few players, but there's a lot of risk for them. They've got more risk than I have, because obviously I've got a few things going on. So I've got a few eggs in different baskets where they haven't. So I get the position they're in. But like I said, I'm just waiting for a few unhappy players that decide that they don't really want the grind of the tour. Then then it can happen. I can't play on my own, but I will certainly keep playing. And if it means I only play 7 events on this tour, then so be it. I've had to accept that.
Can you not just pick and choose your tournaments now?
Yeah,
pick
but I
big events
truly
and
want
play.
to be #1, and I truly want to make the ITV events. But that means I have to go to every tournament in China. It means I have to go to, you know, the majority. Otherwise, you just don't make them. So
not if you win most of them.
Yeah, but I don't want to be going backwards. And yeah, but I mean that's a lot of pressure to put on someone to have to win every event they play in. You know, there's maybe 20 ranking events.
But that's your choice. I mean, you're saying that a lot of the players are under it, but a lot of the players are choosing to because they love the tour. You're not necessarily as hungry as
the ones that lose early enjoy it because they can they go from one tournament to the next tournament. But if you ask a lot of the players that do go deep in tournaments, do they actually enjoy trying to play in China on Sunday and then play in Belgium on Tuesday afternoon? You know, they might win 2 or 3 matches, but they certainly are not going to win the tournament. And that's very debilitating for a top player to go to a tournament and think, I've just got to get through it. You know, it's not what you really...
I think everybody's hearing what you're saying, and we've been talking about the fact that, you know, there's never been more money on this tour now. It's a lot of money.
It's about money, Hazel.
No, not true.
It's about pride of performance. It's about setting a schedule out that before you start the season, you go, you know what, I've got 10 cracks at them tournaments, and I can prepare well for them tournaments, and it isn't going to have a negative effect on me, maybe making some of the prestige tournaments like the ITV tournaments or the Masters or the Shanghai Masters. So it kind of like would take the pressure off of someone like John Higgins, Mark Selby, myself to not have to play anything. We wouldn't necessarily make it because there'd be other players that probably could do better than us. But it certainly gives you a chance to have a proper schedule and not feel like you've got to enter everything just to kind of...
Wouldn't that be better to have a few maybe tweaks in the system rather than
but
something...
I don't see tweaks coming. So it's, you know, if the tweaks were going to come, let's have them now. Yeah. Why wait a year, 2 years and put people in the long grass and just say, yeah, we're going to do this, and Ronnie's just have another one of his days. Do some tweaks instead of just sort of sitting here talking about it, because, you know, life will pass you by, you know, another 5 years ago, and you'll be thinking, well, you know, so sometimes you just have to be a bit proactive.
Can you sit down with the Players' Council, with Barry, and actually discuss some of these tweaks?
I would happily write something on a piece of paper and go, look, these are my concerns. I've actually, you know, said them to you there. You know, I'm happy for Sean Murphy and everyone else to kind of try and come to some sort of sensible thing that everybody's happy with. That's fair, really. You know, a bit like what the USPGA Golf do, you know, where they don't force, you know, I'm not saying force, it's that word force, but they maybe take your average 10 tournaments instead of every tournament having to count.
I personally...
And until things get better, and then you can go, well, it's better now, and then you can tweak. But to tweak everything at once, and it's like as if he's come up with these great ideas and going, we'll take the best of that sport, but hasn't really thought about the practicalities of it. And then it's kind of, once it's the wheels are in motion, you think, whoa. But Barry doesn't really care because he doesn't have to go. But for some of the players, it's not as good as it could be. And it only takes a few tweaks, that's all.
But you know, you have your opinion. Yes, we all have our own opinion. We can't speak for the other 127 players.
Yeah.
It would be interesting to see what the general consensus is, because I don't know what the general consensus is. I'm not involved in the game so much.
You're not on the tour.
No, I'm not.
Yeah. And if you was to come on the tour, I don't think you would like it.
Well, I might not like it because I'm sort of an old dog and I don't want to do it.
An old dog. It's about, you know.
But I think it would be good to ask everybody.
I think it would be great if you could write it on a piece of paper exactly, and everybody else.
I've said it to you. I don't know what else you want me to say. You know,
I think the players.
I can get it done.
I think the players. I understand where you're coming from about the travel and stuff like that. It is very difficult.
As long as you can go, I have to travel to 4 events. There's maybe 6 in the UK. I can handle that and get ready for them. But when you feel like you've got to go from one another just to kind of get into certain tournaments, that all the top players, every player on the tour wants to play in the prestige events. No, more events, but just make 10 count. Or make your 8 best count, so as it takes away the person that is willing to run around every tournament, get a last 16, get a last 16, get a quarterfinals, get a last 16, and he makes it into the top 16. You know, it should be, you know, more of an average sort of thing, so as the top players could, and it's still a risk because they might not do so well in the tournaments they play in, but at least it gives them a bit more of a buffer to prepare. You know, someone like John Higgins plays better when he prepares. Sending him out here, there and everywhere, you know, it's just like a racehorse getting him out, you know, having to, you know, go around in circles all day. You know, you get them ready for, you know, you have to get them ready.
The drain on your stamina is what you said.
Well, for someone like John Higgins, he performs better, and Mark Selby and all the top guys when they're kind of preparing for an event, you know. And Steve was as good a preparer as anybody, so he'll know about
just a question, sorry. Yeah. When you were doing the interviews there, were you focusing on that, or because it's come out of breakaway, but that's not what you're now saying. You're saying you want changes. So when you were talking to the press, were you saying all of this, but then they just picked up on this little bit?
No, at some point, that is what, if nothing changes, I would take that. I would take playing for a quarter of what I get now, if it was as it stays. You know, so I'm not looking for some breakaway tour where they put hundreds of thousands of pounds on. Just a tournament, a platform where you can go and play against good players, because I just enjoy to play. I like to practice, I like to get ready, I like to play in front of a crowd. So I don't ever want to stop that. But I can't see myself lasting and doing myself justice on this tour if I pick and choose and play the schedule that I think's fair. Because there's going to be someone that will play 30 events.
Yeah.
And he's going to make it into the 16. I'm going to be sitting there thinking, I'm better than him.
Okay.
But yeah, because I choose to not go in every tournament, you know,
right.
I'm having to sit home and watch it. So I'd rather not be part of it if that's how it is, and just go and have some fun, you know, and play some exhibitions, do some tournaments, and just become a bit like the Globetrotters, really. You know, they're good to watch.
But you could retire.
Know, I don't want to retire. You know, I'm not sitting here saying I want to retire. I love playing. Steve chose to retire because he'd had enough. I haven't had enough. I still like to compete. So wherever that is, it doesn't really matter as long as I'm competing and playing. Can I tell you, he plays on the seniors, and I bet he just got as much joy playing at the seniors as he probably did yesterday. I don't know. No, but it's still nice to play in front of packed crowds.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ken still fancies it. He still gets out of bed, puts the hours in. So as long as you've still got appetite, then, you know, you want competitions. You know, that's what motivates you to practice, is the competition. So you've got to have something at the end to kind of motivate you in some sort of way. So I disagree with what Steve's saying. You know, he's obviously sort of like, you know, I don't know why he's saying I should retire. You know, when I'm ready to retire, I'll retire. Yeah. But you know, I just.
But is it? But at the moment, if we get a few tweaks, you'll stay on the tour and play.
I don't want to go nowhere. Yeah. But you know, I'm not going to wait a year. That's what
everybody is worried about. That you want a breakaway tour and you don't.
Listen, Ken, I ain't no entrepreneur. I ain't no business. I'm a snooker player. But if tweaks don't happen, then you know, I'm not going to sit here and not do myself justice on the tour. You know, I'll play maybe 6, 7 events, stay in the top 64, but I think I'm better than that. So, you know, it'd be nice to provide a system where the top players...
You can still do that.
No.
Still play. Okay, so you wouldn't play in the Masters, but you could... No, I'm not. You could choose which tournaments you play in.
Well, I do.
But keep in the 64.
Yeah, but it means I would have to win absolutely everything I play in to stay in the top 16, and that's really not a nice.
You don't want to pay your dues, but other players are paying their dues.
I'm prepared to play 15 tournaments a year, which I think a top professional that has pride in his performance can manage. You know, it's not like a 3 or 4 day event. You're talking about 12 days here. You're talking about every trip to China is a 12-day. If you would count the days up, they count up. Then you've got to have practice time. Then you know, Steve will know. You know, a lot of it's in your preparation, and Steve seems to, you know.
No, I'm not.
He wouldn't do it.
I understand.
He wouldn't do it. I know he's playing devil's advocate, but he wouldn't do it.
If I was in Ronnie's situation,
now, he would be fuming. He wouldn't want to go to Preston and Barnsley.
Well, I would agree. I'd agree with you. If I was playing now and I was in Ronnie's situation, one of the top players in the world, I'd probably go best 10 results out of a season to try and average it out. From my own perspective, I think that would probably be something you'd think about.
All right, fair. I think we've reached a kind of fair conclusion here, and it's good to hear you saying that this is not in the offing and it's not something that you want to do.
Last result.
Right, okay. But it's also great to hear you saying that you are willing to sit down and actually have a talk about maybe tweaking some of this.
You know, I'm not going to sit down and talk and wait. You know, changes should happen soon. You know, Johnny has only got so much time. You know, talk is cheap. Let's see some action. You know, and that's what that's why I don't bother. You know, I just kind of get on my own thing. But I would love to see a few positive changes that benefits everybody, even the bottom ranked players. Because if they do well in tournaments, then they're going to benefit from it as well. You know.
Okay, Ronnie, thank you. It's always great to hear your thoughts, and great for you to clarify that today. We really appreciate it. Thank you.